I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Call the meeting to order.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Corey and Bob to approve the agenda. Any additions or corrections? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Minutes from last month or last week were sent out. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
I would approval. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Claims were sent out in advance. I'll just send it all together.
Okay.
Claims were sent out. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Move to approve the claims authorized.
Reimbursement with tax, is that what I sent to you about?
Such a small amount, Shelley, and then she probably didn't know any better, and two,
Correct. I don't
how
know
would you even?
Correct.
you
That's
know,
why I wanted to make sure we're to your attention that,
But you're gonna train to make sure, reduce the possibility of it happening again.
correct.
I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. But I'd move to approve claims, including the $500 for ISAC, and authorize the auditor to issue checks.
Second.
Any additional thoughts, conversation? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. We have numerous. We have Sari Stewart will become the new billing clerk. We have Vicar staff. Promotion and transfer. We have Shobrock for CBS. We have Galeka for CBS. We have Priest for CBS. And we have Nelson for CBS. Anybody have any concerns with any of those?
Move to approve payroll changes and additions.
Thank you, Corey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, motion carries. Shelley, if you want to talk about your,
I would like to put that on with the canvas later, do that as part of the canvas.
at 1 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. Got a resolution in front of us to transfer funds. At secondary roads, is it $269,060?
Move approval of resolution to transfer the dollars.
Second motion.
95.
Moved by Bob, second by Corey to transfer, approve the resolution to transfer the $269,60. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 2596 is also in front of us for transferring $1,079,719 from rural basic to secondary roads fund.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. That motion carries unanimously as well. The annual District 2 meeting is going to be held in Mason City
December 4th.
on December 4th. Two things, we usually try to have at least one person attend. I'm not able to attend. If anybody else can or want to.
I'm planning to. But
You are planning to?
Yeah.
Okay. There is a $50 this year. That
It's
has
been
gone
20
up.
in
It
the-
used to be $15.
It's been 20 the last 2 years, I believe, when it's in
up to
Metro
50.
City. We
Well,
also,
I will pass that along to you. We also typically do a report, either written or verbal. What is your preference? Do you I think I have a copy of an old one on my computer that we used to do, and that got circulated around. I don't know what we did.
I did 2 years ago, I did a printed one, it was about 4 pages. I can provide a copy of that, we can discuss, but last year I just did a verbal. There was only about 4 counties that presented a printed copy. I just didn't have the time to get it pulled together last year in print, but we could do that. I can commit the time to do that if we want. and bring it here.
So we're presenting what we've accomplished this past year.
Correct.
What we've accomplished, current initiatives. So I could pull something together and we could review it next week for approval. If that's okay.
Sounds good, and if you need guidance or help or what, if you, do you want a copy of what we used to do?
I've got the one I did a couple years ago.
Okay.
That you and Ken had given me copies to
Okay,
kind of create
perfect.
that one.
Yeah,
so
no, that's what we used to pass along,
that
so.
would be and then that
Okay.
kind of bring you up to speed on what the process is. So.
Okay, so we'll put it back on next week's agenda for consensus on what Corey puts together.
And those meetings typically useful, or what's the?
So there's a legislative panel, typically like 5 to 6 legislators from the affected district will be there to discuss upcoming agenda items, what they have in their scope for heading into the next session. As it relates to county governance, we'll have a business meeting. It's usually a pretty quick business meeting for the supervisor side of it for the district. And then just some good networking opportunity, but hot topics usually come up. Obviously, the pipeline has dominated the last couple years. We talked about utility siting guidelines. That last year was another topic that carried us for probably 10-15 minutes. And then a lunch, just a communal lunch. So there has been, I know last year I stuck around some informal discussion and networking afterwards with Fayette County, a couple other counties. We had some just informal discussion about kind of budget ideas going forward. So good networking opportunity and another good opportunity to get the ear of some legislators from not just our contingent, but neighboring districts.
Okay.
So good opportunity. I would encourage if you can make time to go to it.
I know they used to be really good, and then there were a couple years we found that legislators, for whatever reason, weren't finding the time to get there, and I think that it kind of got dropped off a little bit, but I believe that I've heard other supervisors also say that it's coming back. And so if it's back to what it used to be, I haven't gone now. It used to be the same Thursday as my mental health meetings, I believe, because I just never was able to go.
Yeah, it's usually been Thursday mornings.
So I would encourage you also, if
Okay.
you've never been to one, to
I'm assuming the
go and meet some
move,
people.
we've been at the pub on the Cedar the last 2 years, and it was so well attended last year, it was pretty tight. It was really congested and made it a little harder to hear. So hopefully this is a little bit bigger meeting room.
Great. Used to be in Charles City, which was way more convenient
Yeah.
for those of us from the east, but. Okay, Corey, the next item is something you requested to be put
Yeah,
on.
so we had back in, it was late August, early September, we had a builder and a realty developer that had wanted to come in and just talk about some ideas that have worked in other counties to see, just I think to give us some awareness of development strategies and initiatives. And they haven't reached back. We had pushed it back for some reasons back then. I think there was maybe some information request on some of their development, and we didn't want to get in the middle of something if there was any legal questions. But we're at a point where just wanting to circle back and kind of clean that up. If there's still interest there, should we offer to bring them back in?
And this would be for residential or commercial?
This was more commercial focused,
Okay.
commercial development focused, but the conversation they wanted to have was not like on an individual project. It was just high level, like on projects we've been on in other counties. These are some ideas collaborative ideas that work to bring projects together that otherwise wouldn't have happened. So just feel it ties in somewhat with what we're kind of looking at with our comprehensive land use. Is this the right time, or do we want to wait until we're closer to the end of that, is my question.
I've done a lot of thinking on it. I'm very supportive of the idea, the concept. My greatest concern would be to make certain that it is a county-wide initiative and not just one or two developers that get invited, because that would not be serving a good purpose for all of Bremer County. And then the other thing is, in the past, I'm not sure that we've had a real strong commitment from this body, what we would intend to do, and then the third or the second idea building on that is that, what are you using for a budget? So, is generally speaking, it's not a matter of just, patting them on the back and say, yeah, we're willing to help support you verbally, because what they're really coming for is some sort of support, either tax incentives or financial incentives. So does this body have any kind of initiative to start putting together something like that? And then if so, where do those dollars come from? So those are my questions that I kind of thought of as we had a week to think about it from last week.
Well, in our toolkit, isn't TIF really the only, the big one that we would look at?
TIF is a potential very strong one, yes. There's also some collaborative, not a fiscal, but the collaborative side where communicating with utilities, other points of cost for development, and just, having that collaborative effort where, conversation from an elected body goes a long ways towards bringing multiple heads together to have that discussion. It's not always just a handout of tax incentives. It's getting everybody on board and going in the same direction. And that was the conversation I had with a few weeks ago with Mr. Hannawalt from United Equipment, was talking about what had happened in Ames, and it was just, they had an up to speed, up to the minute knowledge in that area when they were looking for a building, that what utility incentives were available, like from a packaging standpoint, what real estate was available from an inventory standpoint, like all those things. It wasn't, well, I need to go check on this. It was their economic development knew what was available, and that was a big seller for them. They didn't have to ask a question and wait a week to get an answer, and so some of that is...
That's the advantage of having an economic development director, which we tried to do years ago, and it just didn't get any walking legs.
So you don't know what you don't know, and that's, bringing in and seeing what some other counties are doing might be just the initial start of some conversations and thoughts to, maybe we don't want to go that way, maybe we're happy with where we're at, but I think, like I said, if you don't have those conversations to see what some others are doing, you're kind of locked in the box you're in.
Clearly, the larger counties have an advantage. They created an advantage for themselves over we smaller counties. This morning I saw on the news that Dubuque County is inviting all of their citizens to come in and discuss budget recommendations with them as a body. And Johnson County, I'm not sure it was Johnson County, I think it was three, as I understood, I think it was three communities that cooperated, and they're approaching Johnson County to see what and how they can work together to spend dollars. So there's lots of different ways that we can go about approaching it. So.
Yeah, I'm okay as long as they keep it on the high level, and if they can get other developers to join them would be good. At the city level, of course, we knew our utilities, and we had what tools we could use in our toolbox. TIF was our main one, so I'm not afraid of using TIF. But it kind of goes along, with the county, it's road access and making sure that it's done right, so you don't cause a lot of congestion.
Well, the other challenge that we have is, as a county, we are very, very rural. And if you think about it, our comp plan has had us locked down pretty solid for rural development, and that throws me back to the timing issue.
Yeah.
Do we wait to have this conversation until after we get the proposed results and it gets brought to us for approval? Because we don't know probably what's going to be recommended for approval for the comp plan, and to put out some idea or some, even give promise to something that we may not be able to deliver because the comp plan may, again, lock us down, might be premature.
And I've been wrestling with that point, and you can also look at that as maybe that provides some conversation pieces to help guide the comp plan. Like, hey, maybe if we wanted to trend in this direction, here's some tools we could use to get there. And so maybe that helps to create the comp plan that's going to come back to us, like by having some collaboration with planning and zoning now that the task force is finished and they're working on that. Maybe something that comes out of this meeting would be of benefit to guide their discussions and help that. So waiting to the end, there's also that risk of, well, we didn't see a path to get to that goal, so we avoided it in the comp plan.
Point well taken. I understand that part of it.
If we do invite them, let's invite the comp plan or subset of the comp plan,
I think that's a good point.
so they can hear the same discussion. If we choose that.
Who is there a contact list of individuals that you would invite, or would you just put it out through the media sources that we have available, newspapers and such?
I would have this developer reach out to other developers, say, if 2 or 3 of us can come in and talk about our experiences outside our county at a high level, that would be what I would ask, and then we can also CC the comp board people. They could be aware of it. They could also watch it afterwards on YouTube.
They see the mutual benefit. It wipes away that appearance of like personal gain or trying to lock one developer. I like that approach.
I like that approach, especially what you just said there, Bob, is that you're inviting outside of the county developers in addition, and not necessarily inside of the county, because I'm afraid inside of the county, if you miss one, you're already in trouble.
Yeah.
And so getting ideas of how things are handled in other counties is probably the best way to move forward.
And we're already fairly familiar with what's been done in our county. We've been involved with it, so we're trying to look for some fresh ideas, fresh input. So, okay.
So
I
do we want to have Corey reach back out to the developer
I'll have
and
that
see if he
conversation.
can find some outside of Bremer County, and preferably even further away than just Blackhawk County?
I would agree.
I don't know that I just want to lock it down to maybe his 2 best friends.
Right.
So,
Okay. I will start that conversation, and then we get something ready and I'll bring it back.
please do make certain though that, and I think you will, but we're not, there are no promises on the table at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Aaron.
Hi, good morning. We have our yearly family farm credit allowance or disallowance. We have 17 of them this year. And then 2 that we would recommend to disallow. Heather and Jen work together on reviewing these to make sure qualifications are met. I guess just in a nutshell, it has to be agricultural, has to be 10 acres or contiguous to something else that's 10 acres. Operated by them or a close family member, looking at spouse, parents, grandchildren, step-grandchildren, aunts, uncles type of thing.
Is that defined
And
in
then-
code?
Yes,
It
yeah,
is.
it's all in code, yeah. So then, of course, there has to be that good faith use in agricultural purposes. So Just presenting these to you for you to sign the allowances, and for the disallowances, there's two of them. Heather can maybe speak on the disallowances a
Yeah,
little bit.
there's
It's pretty
two that were
straightforward.
disallowed this year, both very straightforward on disallowances. One of them was too small, it didn't have an ag land credit, and they very clearly said it was rented out to their neighbor, so it was not being farmed by them or a close relative, so pretty straightforward. The second one, the 50% of the parcel was not engaged in farming. The tract did not meet the 10-acre requirement, so on and so on. So those two that we were denying were pretty straightforward, and I have those letters for you to sign as well as sign the disallowance. This year we removed 70 parcels for the 2025 tax year for family farm, and we added 52 parcels. So there were more removed than added for the 2025 tax year, and that's neither here nor there, just a matter of things coming in and out of sometimes LLCs, sometimes no longer being farmed by family.
So like
Can
even,
happen.
so like a cousin would not qualify.
Yeah, we
for
actually
this, so
even had
it's-
one that was a cousin, but also was a brother. So it was like a cousin and a brother were farming it. So because the brother was still involved, it was okay. But had it just been the cousin, it would not have qualified. So, unfortunately. So, any questions for us? Pretty
You
straightforward.
probably said the number. How many did you receive total requests?
17 was all
17
requests
this year.
is all.
17
Yeah.
applications, and they might have multiple parcels on them.
Yeah, it's a smaller number
That
this
sounds
year
like
for
a lot
sure.
smaller.
Much smaller than years past.
Gentlemen, are you, either one of you willing to make a motion? Do we know enough about the two denials? It sounds like they're pretty straightforward
Yeah, they were
denials,
very
and-
straightforward,
They were
easy to
strict
determine.
because they were less than 10 acres, and one
One-
didn't have any ag.
One was rented to a neighbor that wasn't related, so they didn't qualify.
Yeah.
The other one was a small tract that they didn't own anything around them, so they qualified on other parcels that they applied for, just that one had to be excluded.
Right. And I did, on the two disallow, wrote the reasons on here too, so if you guys wanna look at that, you can.
And they don't know yet.
The one of them did, because it came through Beacon, so I immediately emailed him back and let him know because it was rented to a neighbor,
And no.
that he didn't make, no.
I mean, we have to take any applications we get.
I told him it would go through Board of Supervisors, but we would probably recommend it for disallowance since it was rented out.
We typically have a handful that get denied, so
Yeah.
two is probably a pretty small number, actually.
Yeah,
what we-
yeah. Actually, I think most farmers tend to be aware of what the qualifications are, so it's generally only one or two per year that we disallow for that. Yeah, it's usually about this number, because I think so many farmers are aware of
And
what the
we
qualifications
actually just
are.
added this application on our Beacon website too, so
Yeah,
people
Great.
can access it through there.
yeah.
Well, I would approve the 2025 family farm tax credit applications.
Second.
Moved by Bob, second by Corey, to approve the assessor's recommendation for the 17 applications, with two of those being denials. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Chair votes aye, motion carries. Thank you.
All right.
There's actually 19 total.
19 total.
17 approved, 2 denied.
Okay.
I apologize.
Shelley,
I didn't
would
make
you
that distinction.
correction?
Yeah.
Yeah. I put the dates on, all you guys have to do is stamp.
hours later with.
I'll just go this way because the two letters have to go to you. And then if you want to
We'll
pass
take
those
care.
on, you can.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, discuss the fiscal year 27 budget schedule.
This time of year, I start emailing out to outside agencies to get them on a tentative schedule for budgets. Then I set that schedule, get it out to department heads so that we can start getting it filled in. Just always want your input on what you want to see in the budget season this year. And outside agencies, if you want them all here in person, we did have them all come last year. In prior years, we've given them the option. Every few years, I think you make certain that they all show up in person, so thoughts?
I think it was important last year with Bob being newly seated to have everybody here in person, to put a face with some of these outside agencies. This year, I think I could leave it up to them. I'd be okay with that.
I'm okay. But yeah, every other year would be a good schedule.
Okay, and
I'm wondering, there's always such a rush in that handoff from the auditor's office to you getting things assembled for us to start deliberating on. I'm wondering if we, and I had anxiety going into my second year, wanted to start early, but I kind of think that maybe we're starting a week too early on budget discussions in January, maybe give a little more time for that handoff and for you to prepare. I think would add some comfort in your office.
and the deadline has been moved back now as well, so we're not as pushed for a March deadline now. Now we're April.
That was one of the, I pushed, we were working on bid schedule last week on the courthouse bidding, and part of that is moving that up was to give us a little more time. If there were some things we were gonna put all, like lost balance and whatnot, to be able to have that as part of our budget discussions before we were to publish. I thought that added some value for us to deliberate on. So-
Does the fact that we no longer have a compensation board change any of our scheduling needs here?
I was gonna bring that up do we know any more guidance on the comp study that has Barb? I haven't had a conversation with her in a few weeks, so.
I'm not aware, and it was on my note to ask what you guys want to see in discussions about wages this year, being you are.
I think we need to kind of have that on the front end to help department heads assemble their budgets.
I'll reach out to her and see where that's at.
I'll wait for further direction.
Just go ahead and put it on next week's agenda item again, and if we don't have anything, a top date, we'll just
Okay.
cross it off. But anything else on that today?
No, I
Any
don't
other
think so. I
questions?
think that's just the initial.
Okay. Board updates? Bob?
We are gonna have our EMS meeting tomorrow, and on the agenda, there's an idea of maybe going out for a consultant. So I should probably tell them if they want the county to pay for it, they'd have to, they would have to prove it and have to go through the budget process. Is that probably the appropriate thing to say to them?
Did we didn't allocate any money for the commission, did we? Did we allocate?
No.
We had talked about it. I didn't think we ever had, that I could remember.
And EMS stuff that we have in our budget today, that we approved for FY, has that been distributed
It gets distributed in May.
in May? So I'm just asked a question, could this group recommend taking some of that money? But I don't know.
Wait.
They can
What group take that money?
Take a portion of that money for the EMS dollars that we will be allocating in May to EMS groups. Is that, you know, could a portion of that could be used? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Would that question need to be asked to the EMS group?
Yes, it would have to be.
Think
You know, they're gonna be
before.
asking, they want the county to pay for it, so I just need to, you know, when I go there tomorrow night, I'll say, well, there's EMS dollars available if you wanna reallocate it. We could, supervisors may, you know, approve that, or we'll have to go through the budget process. That's my two ideas. And
I agree, and having the EMS Association aware of potentially them asking for some of those dollars to be redirected, because it's your 4 ambulance and your 4
Yep.
first responders, and for first responders, I'm sure there's not a whole lot of dollars coming
Right.
in anywhere else.
Correct. Okay. That helps me.
The first place to ask would be the countywide group, not your group, countywide, to see if they're willing to give up dollars.
Yeah,
And you know what the answer is gonna be on that.
correct. I know that.
Because I don't think they're able to. I think they're,
I know that, but
their
I
budgets are
want to make
close
sure they understand that money's not, you know, it doesn't grow
it
on
might
trees.
come that way.
And it'll have to go through our budget process if they want to hire a consultant, which means that it'll be delaying that process potentially another year. Great, thank you.
Landon, you're up.
Morning.
We have before us the second reading of ordinance 2506, establishing the enforcement and penalties for parking zones. A motion to open the
Move to
public.
open public hearing.
Thank you, Corey.
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob to open the public hearing.
Ronkhorst,
Aye.
Zerwinski,
Aye.
Hildebrand,
Aye. Public hearing is open. Have you received anything?
I had a voicemail on Friday from the Waverly newspaper with some questions. Most of it was about the specific location of the Wapsie School. I told her that that was not on this ordinance, that'd be a separate issue that we'd tackle. The one question she did have was with the $25 fine, if there should be some type of a warning before it goes to a fine. I didn't respond on that, but that was a question I received.
The warning will be the sign.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Great. Has the auditor's office received any? Have you
No,
received anything?
nothing.
Either of you received anything?
The Waverly paper had reached out to myself, and I had actually directed him to you, Landon, to
Okay.
talk about it. And,
Yep.
she made a suggestion of good faith effort by law enforcement to call phone number associated with license plate before tow, and to take that into consideration, so. I explained this was more of like a high-level ordinance so that we could
Yeah.
address specific issues with resolutions, and she understood that, so.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Corey, second by Bob, to close the public hearing.
Ronkhorst,
Aye.
Zerwinski,
Aye.
Hildebrand,
Aye. All right, is there a motion to act on the second reading?
We'll approve the second reading, set the date for the third reading for ordinance 2506.
Second.
And that date is what?
November 18th at 10 o'clock.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, that motion carries.
On the final voucher here, the contractor is still reviewing some subs, so I recommend tabling that item until they have completed their review.
So next week?
Probably, but it's hard to say. It kind of depends when they get back to me. I had thought they already reviewed the subs on the semifinal because they sign off on that one too, but they said they wait till the final, so it could be a couple of weeks possibly.
Why don't we just take no action rather than
Okay.
tabling it? Because if we table it, then we have to.
Yeah, then we have to
address
talk
it.
again.
So,
Yep, take no action and I'll put it back on once I hear from him. Perfect.
you guys comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, Landon, anything else?
The only other thing I have is the county tour didn't work out today, but do we want to schedule a time here in the coming weeks to do that?
Are you totally done out there? We were looking more so to fill some void time.
Yeah, yep.
Are you totally done out there? or-
With the office and stuff?
Right.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
yep. All the flooring, walls, everything's done, so.
What's next week look like?
Next week, you have second tier canvas at 10:15, Landon's on at 10. We could move Landon to after the canvas, or you could just go out there after the canvas.
We finish up canvas, meet you out there and go for a cruise.
Sure.
Would that
What do
be
you-
like a separate work session, or how do you guys typically do that?
Normally, I just put it on the agenda, Board of Supervisors tour, shop it on Euclid, or wherever you're gonna tour.
Okay.
Are we gonna look at bridge projects, or we just?
We certainly can.
What did you have planned? I mean,
Yeah, I'll leave open, and whatever you wanna look at, we can look at.
I think one, I wouldn't mind us going out together on and having a brief conversation, and is the one that the city of Waverly keeps asking if we're gonna participate in, the bike trail one out.
Oh, yeah. Ivanhoe?
That might be worth driving out there and having a look-see. I think we're all familiar with it, but
Okay.
So it'll be tour secondary road sites.
sure. Anything else for us, Landon?
Nothing else this morning?
I have a email that I'll be forwarding to you, which questions about the road damages occurring by the manure site northwest of Sumner, and it's a question about whether or not the county would be willing to participate in a water runoff tile project by this couple of farmers, and I'm not familiar with what our participation would be, and so it'll have to be you engaging with the
Yeah.
individual. So
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Thanks for the RISE information. I know
Yeah.
City of Waverly has used it, so it's a good program.
Yeah, we did a big development with it down in Cedar Rapids when I was there, right out by the airport. It's a good program if you can find
Yeah,
people to make it work.
yeah. It takes, a year in advance or so.
Yep.
To
Yep.
make sure that comes along.
Okay.
Corey, did you have any board or committee?
You got mine
yeah, I
covered.
had
Perfect.
planning
At least for me.
zoning comp plan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Comprehensive Plan Task Force meeting, we had our last meeting Wednesday last week. So that was meeting 3, we're handing it off now to P and Z to
Okay.
start their
Perfect.
deliberations. And we had a really good meeting. It was primarily around transportation, housing. Landon added a lot of good input. He was there on the transportation side of it. And Landon, I'm going to share real quick the one thing came out. We were talking about bridge quality. And
Oh, yeah.
then Landon and I had a follow-up conversation last week about this. The 90,000 pound load limit, the statewide initiative on heavier loads, has had a negative impact on bridge quality rating. And I know when our legislators were in a few weeks ago, they were looking for points of contention of unfunded mandates, and that truly is one, as we've moved bridges into more unfavorable categories because of the stress that's created with the larger loads is not linear. It's, I don't know how you would describe that, but, so Landon he's gonna work with a few sources to kind of quantify that, to send off to our legislators to show the ramifications of that on our spending for bridges.
Brian already has all that, if you just contact him.
I talked to Brian.
Yeah, he's got it, I know he's got it.
I gave the wrong number. Chris Williams at Iowa State found that the 12% increase in load from 80 to 90 increases stress on our pavements by 60%, not 40. So, pretty significant. Brian said he's still waiting for the full results of that, so I was kind of waiting on him to see if he got some more.
But I think it's good information we need to get in front of the legislature.
Yeah,
Great idea.
yeah.
Because it does have a huge impact.
Yeah.
And and it has it on themselves. I mean, the rural community or the agricultural community, the
Right.
one wanting it, but at the same time, it's causing some of those bridges to be downgraded, and
Yep.
therefore, they can't drive on it.
Right.
So,
So, I plan to stay engaged with, I'm going to attend P and Z meetings as they work through this, just to observe and hear the conversation, so I can bring that back here and keep us updated
Perfect.
through that process. And then Thursday, we had building committee update. We worked through kind of our milestones that were shared.
Thanks, Landon.
Thank you.
And, yes, thank you. Trying to move that schedule up, kind of just get rid of some wasted days in those calendars. There was some overlap that we could create on like bidder qualifications and the 90% plans going out versus the 100% plans. So we tightened that up, moved the bid date. I don't remember what the total, we gained about 12 days. I think that honestly, from my perspective in commercial bidding, I think moving to into February from March might secure a little more competitiveness. When you get into March, schedules are starting to fill in already for contractors, and you know, that really starts in earnest third week of January, the competitive bidding for the year's schedule. And so I think getting back into February will probably secure a few more bids as well on some items. So that's encouraging. As we talked about in law board, breaking out, trying to get some of that concrete we're looking at for over there, get some numbers on that. They've got takeoffs now, they just need to put some numbers on tear out and replacement, so that we can look at that from a law board budget. And that was pretty much it for building committee.
Speaking of building committee, when I walked in this morning, I noticed the north entry has like lots and lots of bulletin board material taped to the windows. It's getting to where it looks bad, in my opinion.
I tore one off coming in.
Do we want to have Scott look at, I mean, I think that it's a necessary bulletin board area. Do we want to have him look at getting a bulletin board to put up in one side of the window and just using it as a bulletin board? It would look better from the exterior, I think, looking at the back of a bulletin board than it looks at, because the other problem is going to be going into winter, moisture builds up on those windows terrible, and those papers are all going to be getting gunky and goofy. So I can't imagine that a bulletin board that's big enough to fit in there would cost that much money.
Yeah, but it has to be clear, because you want to see it from the outside. They want to post it from the outside.
Well, the
No,
items, the
they're all
notices we're
posted
thinking of
from the
posting to the
inside.
inside.
Everything up there that's posted that I'm
Right.
talking about is,
I've thought of that often too, because our official postings are on the south, but so many people use the north, and we started using the north for everything when the south was closed. Now it's kind of continued to be being used, which makes sense, because that's where a lot of people come through. And I've thought about bulletin boards too, and I don't know that
The only thing
it's
should-
any better than what it does now, like.
So you bring, I mean, shouldn't it just be the meetings? Why are some of those things posted there?
It's public information, just in public education, public information, public notices. Some of it's information, some of it's notices.
let's do this, since it wasn't on and it's not an emergency item, let's put it on next week's agenda to have a full discussion on it, and maybe the others will have some input also, and as,
I will, and where we've had the notices now is not available to the public, the doors are locked. That vestibule is. Just
Good point.
something to add to that.
and maybe it is as simple as what Bob is asking, is maybe some of that doesn't need to be posted, but we do need to post some of the stuff, so let's just put it on next week. All right, do you have any other board or
That
committees?
was all I had.
I had Iowa County Technical Advisory meeting last Wednesday, I believe was on the 5th. We had 2 new people appointed to sit on that advisory board for ISAC, because there used to be some automatic people from the regions. Since the regions no longer exist, they needed 2 additional people, and we appointed those folks to that. Nicole Shippers is one of them, and Sandy Sweeney is the other one that has been appointed. The biggest thing that we discussed was the transition from what used to be called expert users within the system, which were all of the, again, the regional folks that really had the biggest skin in the game with that. And how we're gonna allow for people to get into this system, and ISAC's IT people are recommending that we transition out of expert users and we call them testers, and the testers will get the same capability as what the expert users is. The testers are important and necessary. Bob, you probably understand this maybe better than what I do. You'd probably be a better person on this advisory council. The testers basically are folks that are helping ISAC assure the integrity of the system, which used to be the expert users doing that, but we don't have expert users anymore. So I brought up that, you know, if we're gonna do that, don't we need to have some written rules and regulations for that? And so we put it on for a transition to take place in July 1 of 2026, which will give ISAC some time to write up some regulations, and then if necessary for us to have another meeting. We also passed the budget. The budget was challenging because we don't know, for instance, how many counties are even going to stay affiliated with this, but the hope is that all 97 that currently do will stay. I don't know why 2 counties don't utilize it, but and therefore looking at, and I think I've talked to Nate on a couple of times about this, transitioning more for ISAC's IT folks to also be there to assist with smaller county and the county IT departments when necessary. Maybe to even the point where if we have one person and that person resigns and we don't get the position filled, that the IT person from ISAC could jump in and help take care of some things. So
With a contract.
yeah, with a 2080 or something simple for the guidance. So the current charge is $2,500 to counties, I believe, for, is always paid through mental health, so maybe you.
I don't know.
And that's gonna be maintained at that same level because every county has a DAP now, and the reasoning is that the DAP will be using this stuff also, so that's all I have. If you have detailed questions, we're gonna have to get ISAC on board to answer them for me, because it's a good group, but it's technical, so. Anything else for now? Bob, did you get yours back to me?
No.
You got 5 of them, I think they're assigned, 5 or 6, so you get those back to me?
I do know the ISAC amicus brief. I know to start the week there was 22 counties that had committed to that, and there was several more on agendas yesterday or Monday today. So I think we had
That's a good number.
Good number, yeah.
Yeah.
Blackhawk County contributed $1,000. Thought that was
Awesome.
nice of them for
Yeah.
not even being directly affected with this.
So we're gonna recess till 1, is that what we're gonna do?
If, anybody have anything else for the regular board meeting?
I don't have anything else. No.
Okay, I'm gonna declare a recess till 1 PM, and we'll take up the
Bob, I'll make a copy of this for you.